to invite to address you His Excellency President Mohammed Irfaan Ali. Thank you very much, comrades.
Please have your seats. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for sharing your time again with me this morning. As you know, I was here over the weekend and I met different groups of people, and I promised some of those grouping that I will be back here to have a conversation on the future. And there are some important groups in this region that I wanted to engage. Our cash crop farmers, our rice farmers, our sugar workers, and of course, our fisher folk. Because in every of these categories, we have a clearly defined plan as to what we want to achieve. But today, I want to also give you an opportunity to engage for some time on some of the ideas you may have and you may want to share or add to what I would have to share with you. So the first segment of this meeting is dedicated to our rice farmers and cash crop farmers. The second segment will be to our fisher folk and our sugar workers. So I want to be clear because I have, as I said, a complete set of ideas and vision that I want to position to you. Our aim in the next 5 years is to position Guyana as the food capital of the region. To do that, we'll have to make tremendous investment in the land, the people, the infrastructure, and the market. And to do that, you have to have a government that is committed to this, committed to making the investment in the land, the people, the infrastructure, and the market. And if we look at agriculture in isolation of the investments we are making, then we will be making a serious mistake. Because if the dam is bad and you can't cut the rice in time, you lose production. If the dam is bad and you can't bring out your produce, you lose production. If you have overproduction of one crop and you don't have storage capacity, you lose. If you have excessive rainfall and you don't have the drainage system, you lose. If you have to line up at the Berbice Bridge to take your produce to the market, it reduces the life of your produce. If you have to pay to cross the bridge, it increases the cost of transportation. If you have access for direct export from here to the rest of the region and internationally, it expands your market. You follow what I'm saying? That is why all of these investments are so critically integrated with each other. When we announce free crossing over the Berbice River Bridge, it is not only for those who see themselves as passengers, it is for every category. When we invest in D&I, when we build a Hope-like canal, when we invest in the shade houses, in hydroponics, all of these things are linked in order to make agriculture and food production sustainable. And I'm talking to you today about food production, of which agriculture is an important component. But before I get there, because I want to talk to you about the future, let me say to you that before you decide who supports agriculture, you have to understand the philosophy of different governments. We did not say rice is private business. So if the philosophy of leaders and governments is to see rice as private interests, then they will have absolutely no interest in public investment because they see this as a private enterprise alone. That's the first thing. You're talking about philosophy. If you have a government that does not understand the wider socioeconomic implications for the sugar sector, then again, it affects their policy-making mechanism because they will not be in support of the sector. And we saw this in the last government. So, you must also ask yourselves a question. Who can you trust? Who can you trust in doing what they say they will do? Maybe there are challenges, but ultimately, who can you trust? Who will take responsibility? We don't shy away from issues. We address issues. We're the forefront of issues. Taking responsibility. Who will make the investment? Ashley said to you, when we go to Parliament and ask for more money for DNI and ask for more money for Farm to Market Access Road, you must listen to the type of questions that come from the opposition. You must listen to the type of questions that comes from them. And then you will have an appreciation for the philosophy, the mentality, the thinking, and what is driving their thinking. So that's the first thing I want us to understand. We must have a clear vision. We must have a clear understanding. We must have a holistic approach through which we look at our future and who can support that future the best. Now, we have been able to live rice all our life. We can sit here today and document the history of rice and all the challenges. We can also document and speak about the successes. We can also document and speak about the support from government. But I also want us to talk a bit about how do we move this sector even faster forward and more profitable forward. And there are some key things, because I've sat with rice farmers all across this country, that rice farmers will talk about. One is how do we reduce our input costs? How do we reduce our input costs? How do we reduce our costs for fuel, our drainage and irrigation costs, our land preparation costs? How do we reduce that input cost? And the government, we will tell you that in the last 5 years, we have collected zero tax on fuel. Zero tax on fuel. So you're paying zero tax on fuel. That is tens of billions, hundreds of billions of dollars that we have given up in taxes on fuel alone. So as we advance forward, what are some of the new ideas that we have been talking about and discussing? One is that we have to reduce the spoilage of paddy. To do that, we need modern drying and storage facility. Modern drying and storage facility that would allow the farmers to store their paddy without infestation for a longer period of time. So if the market collapses in a particular period, we have long-term storage to enhance long-term storage of international standard. And that is the first thing. Drying and storage facility. Increasing our yield and productivity. Having more varieties available. How do we ensure that we maximize our yield and productivity? Importantly too, for the rice farmers, we have to look at a system of integrated farms, where we say for every 10 acres of rice farm, we use 1 acre for a high value, high yielding commodity. So we reduce the risk, we increase productivity, we expand and diversify our income base. So one of the things that we will support you on, so one, we have to co-invest on the storage and drying facility, modern storage and drying facility. Two, we have to continue to work with you on increasing yield and productivity. Three, we will be working with you on how to create these integrated farms and identify crops with the technology and the support for you to start up these integrated farms. So if you have 100 acres of rice farm and you have 10 acres dedicated for a high value crop that is backed by technical support and technological support, then you're diversifying your risk portfolio. You're expanding your income portfolio, and we make your agriculture more versatile. So that's another idea that we have. The other thing that we're thinking about is how do we create a special development fund for agriculture, where government can co-invest with farmers so that it reduces your interest rate further. So the government component would allow the interest rate to fall. How do we create a special fiscal, again, because we have that, how do we expand the fiscal framework and the taxation system to give more support to farmers? And how do we use this special development fund to mitigate risk through co-investment with the government? How do we use the fund to support technology transfer, resilient and sustainable crop production? And how do we look at new areas of productivity? So that's the first set of areas on the input side that we'll have to address. Then we have the technical support. How do we have a more vibrant extension services that is based in technology, where the farmers on the device can have access to weather pattern, access to potential diseases, and how do you protect your crop against those diseases? How you can have continuous extension services via technology in real time in your farms. We're already building that situation room so that on your phone will be an extension service officer. This is what modern agriculture is about. And these are the investments we're making. Expanded veterinary services, data-driven decision making. How do we invest in technology, lab services here in this region to support you, so that you can have early detection of diseases, so you can have early response. We can have a more predictable nature of the challenges that the rice farmers are facing. We can have more flood modeling. These are important tools that are available in today's world that would help us to support sustainable agriculture. And these are some of the things that we will also be doing. Important to this is market growth and penetration. How do we ensure that we build markets? How do we ensure that we create greater value for the rice that we're going to produce here, and the opportunities will come because value creation was stymied because of the cost of electricity. The cost of electricity will come down by half. When that happens, value creation and value addition becomes more viable. Then the next area is infrastructure. How do we open up new lands? We have already started that investment. Where are we going to put the infrastructure to open up new lands to support agriculture? How do we invest in drainage and irrigation? More resources set aside for drainage and irrigation, mobile pump, and supporting farmers in land preparation. So one of the things we are thinking about also is how we can put the machinery directly in the hands of farmers. So that if you have farming groups, you have a management authority that look at servicing yourself with minor works, clearing a little culvert, putting down a little tube. If we create this management system across different areas, then we can support with that capital investment. And then, when you look at our cash crop farmers, how do we support our cash crop farmers? We have to ensure that we give you high quality seeds, fertilizer, implement. We invest in small machinery that aid mechanization. We have to build in this region cold storage facility to support our cash crop farmers so that their produce will have longer shelf life. We have to invest in modern packaging facility so that we can have your produce into the supermarkets here and throughout the Caribbean. Just as Massey is bringing in produce from overseas, they have to be able to take our produce and market it to the rest of the region. We have to bring specific legislation that mandates supermarkets operating in Guyana to carry special shelves with produce, agriculture produce, and other agro-processing produce produced here in Guyana. So that when you walk in any supermarket, you can go through shelves in which Guyanese production is showcased and sold. These are the things that will help us to expand market, create sustainability. We're going to invest, especially with women and young people, in hydroponic houses, shade houses, so that we can have resilient agriculture, sustainable agriculture. We have to go in the value-added creation, creating our own brand. We have a huge diaspora, getting our own brand of agro-processing produce into those international markets. And this is the hard work. That is the hard work. But this is the work that we are committed to as we build this future. We have to help you to reduce your transport costs, the building of farm-to-market access roads, but more importantly, how again do we help you with transport facility in groups, like in the Berbice River, in the Demerara River. We are now going to buy boats and give it to the farmers so they can use those boats to bring their produce down to the market. These are the things that we are planning ahead. We want our small farmers to be able to plant smarter. We want women to be able to have their cash crop farms under better condition with a shade house, a hydroponic house. With hydroponics, in 1 acre on this crushed surface, we can produce sometimes more than 5 acres in the open farm. We want to look at areas in which we will expand dairy production, meat production. These are the things that we are looking forward. Expanding bee production. So you have honey production, you have a cash crop farm, but you also have a few beehives that you produce honey, adding income, expanding your income base, putting more disposable income in your pockets. That is the future we are talking about. Building a strong and resilient future for agriculture. So today, as I said, I'm on that mission to also listen to you. But we also announced recently that we are going to give 1 bag fertilizer per acre of land. But I've listened to farmers across the country. And many farmers, especially those who are planting less than 30 acres, they said that we are willing to get the cash value of that fertilizer. So if you have 30 acres of land and it's $7,000 for a bag of fertilizer, the cash value is $210,000. So there are farmers who came to us, rice farmers, and said we would want the government to consider giving us the cash value for the fertilizer. And I said to the minister, let us look at 30 acres and below. And those farmers that want the cash value, that if that is their preference, they have that preference. You can shake your head. You might be a big farmer, you don't need it. But there are other farmers who need it. And those who are selling the fertilizer, right? No, if the farmers want it, they must decide who they want to buy from. And this is what the farmers have said. We don't want to be under the mercy of any one miller or any one buyer who tell us that we got to take the fertilizer and the fuel from them. We want to do our things directly. So I said to the minister, I listened to the farmers, 30 acres and below, if they want the direct cash to the value of the fertilizer. So if you plant 1 acre, you want the cash, 5 acre, 10 acre, 15 acre, up to 30 acre. Now, you will know that you get the fertilizer subsidy in the form of cash. Am I clear? Then I said to the Minister of Agriculture, I don't want to go and weigh half bag fertilizer to give the cash crop farmer who got half acre. You have half acre, we give you a full bag fertilizer too. And because the cash crop farmers they farm smaller acreage, it might be more efficient for us to buy the fertilizer and transport it and distribute it for you. But if you have 10 acres of cash crop, I think your fertilizer is about what, $8,000, the one they use? If you have 10 acres and you want the cash value of that, that is $80,000. And you have 10 acres. Then you tell the Ministry of Agriculture, we want the cash value of it. But remember, it is your fertilizer support. Are we clear? So we have approximately 3,000 cash crop farmers in this region. And we have about 1,370 farmers who farm between 1 to 30 acres of rice. Right? The rest are the bigger guys who will get the fertilizer. Are we okay? Are we together? So that is one of the proposals that is before us to implement, that we can implement instantaneously. And here, it is farmers from Region 6, a group of farmers from Region 6 who came and speak to me at Independence, and another group in Region 2 who came and speak to me who brought this idea. All right? So, and somebody says a good idea, you see? the ministers would have already said some of the support that we have already given to maintain the pricing. But we have to also look, and we're committing to you that we are going to look at the sustainability of the industry in ensuring, as we move forward in a new term, that we create a mechanism through which farmers have less delay in receiving their payment. Because this is important. Because sometimes farmers are halfway into the second crop and now receiving the payment for the first crop. So that is why we have to find this partnership. We have to find this partnership between the sector and the government to ensure that we create the mechanism. I speak about co-financing. I speak about a special development fund. But in a partnership, remember the word is partnership. What is the most important element in partnership? Trust. And who are the partners in this government you can trust to enter into a partnership with you and commit itself to what that partnership is about? It is this People's Progressive Party civic government. We have demonstrated to you that you can trust us in any partnership. And we want this partnership to continue, and everything I'm telling you here today, you can guarantee that we will partner with you to make cash crop farming and rice farming not only profitable, but ensure that it is sustainable. And we look at expanding your income base. So the first segment of the meeting, as I said, is for cash crop farmers and rice farmers. So sugar workers and our fisher folk, let us give these guys the first opportunity. After them, we'll ask them to step back, and the fisher folk and our sugar workers step forward. Are we okay? Are we all okay? So the first 5 persons who want to share